All right, guys, so welcome back to this video. We've seen what a trading plan is and how important it is for us as traders. We actually cannot do without a trading plan. If you are trading without a plan, you're basically like a pilot or a driver trying to drive to a destination unknown, and yet you're not having a map. And that is exactly what it is. So before we finally start creating our trading plan, I would like us to just talk about some of the most important ingredients of a good trading plan. And we're going to start by looking at risk management. Risk management is very important. I must beg you at this point that if you know you're not ready to apply risk management to your money, it's better you don't even go into trading. Just find another thing to do because you're going to experience losses. And what is going to stop you from losing more than you've planned is risk management. And this is not something you can ignore. But the good thing is that in as much as risk is part of the downside of trading, we can control it. We can definitely control it, systematize it, and find a way of keeping it at a bare minimum. So your risk control and your risk management must always be consistent. It must always be consistent. What I'm saying here is that you're not just going to apply one particular risk percentage on a trade today and then tomorrow you just feel like I want to risk more than what I risked yesterday. It is not going to work like that. The effect of that is that at the end of the day, you're going to find an inconsistent result in your trading history. So what you should do is that try as much as possible to keep your risk control and your risk management approach consistent, not dynamic. Make sure you keep it consistent. Find a way of putting yourself within a confine of a particular risk percentage, and then you're telling yourself that this is what I'm going to be risking. You can say, okay, I want to risk 1% per day. That should be your risk percentage approach. Do not go above that, or do not allow yourself to be moved based on emotion. That is one of the reasons why we need to definitely talk about risk management. Now, some of the things we're going to talk about based on risk perspective is risk per trade, risk per day, risk per week, risk per month. These are the things that keeps your result professional. You have a specific risk for a day. Probably you have just risk exposure of 1% of your total capital per day. And the moment you hit 1%, you close your screen or you close your charts and walk away and prepare yourself to come back tomorrow. Now, two things are happening to you every time you do that. You're working on your mindset. You're allowing your mind to breathe and rethink and regurgitate so that when you come next, you're going to have that mental toughness, the mental strength to be able to fine tune what you did yesterday and be able to take good trades. That's the advantage of it. But when you lose it after having maybe hit your risk for a day, maybe you finally hit 1% and you are already emotionally driven. You are taking trades without plan. You're taking trades without control. You'll end up going deeper into your account, which will eventually end up in regret. Some people will have a risk exposure of 5% per week, and that is also something you must keep within yourself. What I'm saying here is that these things are going to be weaved into your trading plan, but then if you don't know what they are and how to apply them, you are eventually going to create something that is not going to work for you. All right, so this is what will help you to limit the bad side of trading. Now, how about when you finally hit your target? Not just about risks being hit. Let's say you have a risk of 2% for a week, or maybe risks of 3% for a week. This is what controls you from going back to the trade. But then how about if you hit your target? Is it something that is left open that you just want to just hit as much as you can? See, because we are human beings and I know how emotions flow, the chances that greed will creep in by the time you have an open target. Definitely, I know that we cannot control how much we make in a day or how much we can make per week, how much we can make per month. This is left open, and this is why I told you that what we can actually control is our risks, not the target most of the time. But when you leave it open, I know many of the times that I will trade maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I will make almost 10 to 15% of my account. But then here comes Friday. Because I don't have a threshold of target, I don't have an expected target that the moment I reach that target, I'm going to close my screen for that week. The only thing I'm going to do is paper trading. Then maybe when I come next week, I have the chance to retrade again because I've reached the threshold of what I want to achieve per that week. But some people do not have that. You see that? If I make X percent in a week or a month, I will pause trading. If this rule will limit you, you can also apply something like, all right, I know that my target for a week is 7%, but then when you finally hit the 7% on Tuesday, we have 5 days probably, right? If you finally hit the 7% on Tuesday, you have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to trade. Now you can lock some percentage of that profit. Let's say you can lock 6% or even 5% and work with just 2% for the rest of the day. And once you end up hitting, or maybe you lose the 2% you've left as a working capital, you now close till next week. Do not leave your target too open, because greed is going to deal with you. Have a target that when you finally meet that target, you close your charts and maybe come back next and freshen up yourself so that you can have the chance and the time to work on yourself as much as possible. Now remember, your targets are outputs, not inputs. What I'm trying to say here is that I have seen a lot of people focus more on the output of trading instead of the input. You see, whatever you give into the market is what you receive most of the time. But then most people just focus on the profit aspect of trading, not the process of why that profit is coming. You see that? The process of why that profit is coming encompasses everything, such as risk management, proper trading psychology, proper technical analysis, and putting in all the work into that. So this is the determinant of the output. But then why focus on just the output, not the input? Your focus should be centralized on the input that makes this result a reality. No matter how good the output is or are, you are never going to have them consistently if you don't work on the input. You see that? So this is what you should put in mind, that every time I see an output, there is an input that made that output a reality. And then if I can work more on my input, then definitely the output is going to be consistently interesting. Now, talking about risk to reward. I know how many people trade without caring about what type of risk to reward they work with. Now, we have dynamic and fixed risk to reward. Personally, I don't have a fixed risk to reward. I have dynamic risk to reward. I mostly target my trades 1:2, 1:3, 1:4, 1:5, depending on what the technical analysis gives me. But then for some people, they have a fixed risk to reward, 1:3, consistently. Now, that will help you to have a very, very balanced history and balanced trading result. But then if you also have a dynamic, you have the chance to come up at some time, come down, and then you're going to balance overall the outcome of all your trading performances. And that is where it comes in very handy. So you're going to select which of these do you feel comfortable doing, and mine may not be what you like. And definitely we have different people in this industry depending on what you want. So you can select the one you can select. If you're strictly going to work on a fixed risk to reward, just look for the best trades that give you 1:3 throughout your trading week. And once you get that, you consistently be in profit. But then make sure that your risk approach and control is always consistent, 1% or maybe 0.5, depending on what you have right there. So risk management process. Let's talk about the risk management process that you will eventually work with. First of all, you come to your chart, you prepare your setup. That's very important aspect of trading. Come to your chart, analyze good, prepare your setup. We're going to do that, but then I'm just saying it so you can know. Identify stop loss size. Do not take trade before calculating your stop loss. Now, the difference between risk management and trade control or trade management is that risk management is done before taking a trade, and trade management is done when you finally activate the trade. You see that? So you prepare your setup, identify the stop loss. If you have a calculator, calculate what is the 1% risk on that particular stop loss size, because we have calculator out there. You can find one on babypips.com. But then if you have 15 pips and then you want to get 1% and calculate the lot size that is fit for that, you can use calculator and you're going to get exactly the lot size you're going to be using. Organize stop loss and take profit order before taking the trade. Once you've done that, it shows that you're ready and you know exactly what you're doing. The outcome is not going to surprise you and you're going to be under control. We've talked about trading plan. This is the guideline. It's just like the law enforcement rule or law enforcement agency that ensures that you do the right thing before taking a trade. So that must be put in place. And trade management, definitely, there are different ways we do trade management, such as you move your stop loss to break even once price moves to a particular level. And some people use the stop loss trailing profit, and some people use the set and forget pattern. So depending on what you want, you can choose to work with stop loss to break even. That's if you have the ability to do it manually. Some people use the stop stop loss, trailing profit, and some people just set it and walk away. Depending on what you want, you can practice and then find one that best fits into your trading pattern. Then we're going to go into the next video and I'll show you how to prepare your trading plan and how to bring in all the different aspects of trading plan and how to work with it. So let's go to the next video. Without further ado, let's just have what we need.